to the channel. Today we want to take you guys out there and show you some updates on Cleetus McFarlands' new 69 Camaro we're doing. Last time you guys saw it, we were messing with the front suspension. We told you what our plans were moving forward, and we just want to take you guys out there and show you some of that. Also, I know the audio was kind of bad on the last video. We're working on that. We have some mics coming tomorrow. So the next video will be on point for sure. In this video, we're going to turn everything off in the background. It's after hours, and we're going to film it then. Hopefully that helps. We just wanted to give you guys an update on Cleetus' 69 Camaro. Since last time you guys watched the video, we've got quite a bit of stuff done. And I also have Danny here to help me explain some of the stuff he's done. I explained most of the front suspension last time. We started on the fuel cell mount, which goes around here. We got Ryan drawing a fuel cell in CAD. We make our fuel cells on the laser we have in-house. So that's pretty cool. I'll show you that in a little bit. This is all titanium. The fuel cell mount will be all titanium. There'll be a little brace here. Saves a little bit of weight and it looks really good. So we do a lot of stuff in titanium. As we told you, the control arms will be titanium. The fuel cell will be about 6.5 gallons. And to mount it, it'll have a titanium cage that basically mounts over it with some quick pins. That way you can take it out if you need to get the engine out or service anything. It's pretty easy to get to. So other than that, up front, I think we got, moving back here, we got the steering column in. Also, something I want to touch on, which we told you in the last video, is Cleetus is really big on wanting to fit good in the car, and he's extremely tall, taller than anyone I think we've ever fit in a car. So with that being said, we want to make sure we get him back here and we fit him in the car so he's really comfortable. If he's driving it, it's built for him, it needs to fit him. So we have our steering column jig in. So this is basically the column without any mounts. This column is also titanium with Delrin bushings in the end. We'll put a tube in here, 3/4 tube in here, which will be the steering shaft. We'll put his steering wheel on here with his extension. We can swap extensions, make it a little shorter, longer later on down the road if he wants to change that. But we have this in here so that he can sit in the car and we can fit him for the pedals, make sure his knees are out of the way of the column, all that stuff. We also have a pedal kit, one of our pedal kits out here, which Danny has ready. These are really nice adjustable pedal kits that we make in-house. We have these out here as a mock-up. We pretty much have mock-up sets of everything, or 2 mock-up sets of everything. That way when we're building the car, if this gets nicked or scratched, this is not what you get as a finished product. We end up installing brand new parts at the end. So these will just be for mock-up. These are the titanium mounts that'll go for the steering column. This piece is chromoly. This gets welded to the dash bar, and then this gets welded to the steering column. You can't weld titanium to moly, so this is the way we have to do it. Gets a little 1/4" NAS bolt up here at the top. Something like this. This is not fit for this car yet. This is just to show you guys kind of how it mounts. So it'll mount something like this here, and then it'll have one mount at the bottom. We try to make everything as light as possible. We got his brake pedal here. The reason we step over our brake pedal, especially in a car like this, is our rails, the farther we move the rail in for the adjustable pedal assembly, the farther we can move it forward. So if we were to mount it over here, it would stop here. As we go over here, we can get this a little farther forward. And as we said in the last video, the firewall will step forward here some, just to get him a few extra inches. I mean, if we get 2 or 3 extra inches of leg room, that'll be big for him. So that's the plan, is to get him over. He's gonna come over later this week. We'll show you a little bit of that too, on exactly how we fit these guys in the car and get them all fit, and then we can do all the controls pretty much from there. Something else, the seat we were waiting on last week. It came in the very end of last week, and Danny got it. I'm gonna let you explain what you did here, Danny, because what happened was we do our seat bar in line with our cross tube for our X. We always do them like that. It always works out pretty good. When Cleetus sat in the car, his head did have clearance, but not as much as we would have liked. Yeah, so you'll come down, if you're gonna come down, at least 2 more inches.
I want like more than that.
More than that? We'll notch it, get as low as we can. You'll have to go back. What we did moving forward is we got our seat in, and I'll let Danny explain what he did here.
We knew we wanted to get the seat down, the bottom of the seat, about even with the bottom of the frame rail. So to do that, we had to, I had to make a bunch of lines inside there. I just drew some lines under the seat alongside the rail, so I knew what direction it was going that way. And we have a crossbar, so I kind of marked that off. And then I just took a sanding drum that we have. It's about the same size as an 1 5/8 tube. And I just started cutting. And you start sanding it until you get a hole. Then you sit the seat and see if it lines up good. And you just keep going, more on each end, more on each end, more, and just keep going until the seat kept dropping down. And I had blocks of metal underneath there to block it up, so it was nice and even while I was doing this. So now we've got it to where it's with the bottom of the frame. That gives him quite a bit of room. I mean, if we have to go a little lower, we're going to have 1-inch tubes to go under the seat anyway. But we can even drop it lower if he wants to a little bit. And that's just a matter of just extending those notches we have out, and it'll just drop down. But that's a starting point. You see you have a tube sticking through the seat. That won't be that way in the real world. We can carbon fiber over that to cover it all up. Plus, he's going to have a pour-in seat, and so the pour-in seat will just go right around that, and he'll never even feel it. It wouldn't even be seen.
One of the biggest updates you might notice since the last video is we started getting a body on here. Troy's been working on that. We made the rocker panels. You can use a factory rocker, but they're pretty heavy. So we make a rocker that's pretty much a similar dimension height-wise as the factory rocker, except for it doesn't have the second bend, which works good with our sheet metal, and it also looks good flowing with the quarter panel. So the first thing we did is we made this rocker with a hem on the top and a brake on the bottom to tie in with our sheet metal. And then we get the quarter panels aligned with this. Fastens to that. You can see we've been working on today, getting the roof all clecoed on, getting the correct space up there, and just working with that. It's a pretty big process to get all these panels to work exactly how you want them to work and look good. And to add on to that, then you have to make carbon fiber aftermarket doors and front end fit the factory stuff. So it's a pretty big process. We're getting close on that. Once we get the exact alignment, we'll start mounting the body from the back to the front. Once the body's mounted, then there's a lot of tubing and a lot of other stuff we can do.
The seat's not going to be just sitting here like this. When we mount it, there's a tube that will go between the rail and frame rail and the rocker bar. It will go back until it touches the seat. That will be where your crotch strap mount is welded to. Then there'll be a slot cut in the seat for that to come through. We also have to cut slots for seat belts. And this here may or may not get trimmed back. It all depends on how he feels with it. And then once we've got this cut to where we want it, then we use there'll be like a piece of 1/2-inch chrome moly that's offset notched all the way to the inside. That'll run right along the seat, welds here and welds there. And likewise, we have one here that bends around the seat, goes across, it'll bend up, and it'll weld into this. There's even going to be something on the other side of this panel over there that will go up along the seat, and it will have Zeus fasteners on it. So the seat's going to be held in with probably anywhere from 9 to 10 Zeus's, and it locks it in position to where it conforms to all the rails. And right now it's real crude. We're just starting the process. But when it's all done, it just goes in real slick.
Fire bottles. Something else we got done since the last video that you guys haven't seen yet is Danny got the fire bottles mounted. Obviously that's an extremely big, important part of the car. Safety is number one. So we've added, these are just mock-up bottles also, so these are not the actual bottles. The actual bottles are a lot nicer. But it's a 20-pound fire system, which is what's needed really for a car like this with a turbo deal. On a nitrous car, we can get away with one 10-pound bottle, and this car will have 2. Now that these are fully mounted, we get a few pieces of sheet metal in. Danny is the one who does a lot of the fire lines, so you guys will see that also. Fire lines, pretty cool, a lot of detail in those. But they'll run around. The fire lines will be one at your foot here on the inside of the car. There'll be some on the outside toward the fuel rail and one closer to the fuel tank.